Freedom from Taxes by Robert Kiyosaki. I read a quote that goes, people who complain about taxes can be divided into two classes, men and women. True, but while some people complain, a smaller group of people take action. My rich dad taught me that taxes aren't unavoidable, and with the right mindset and financial education, they could even be used to your advantage. Most people will find the idea of using taxes to your advantage as absurd or impossible. Today's taxes are killing many people financially. Do you look at your paycheck every month and wonder where's all your money going? I'll tell you, it's going to the people who know how to use taxes to make money rather than lose money. It's going to people like me. As you'll find out more in this ebook, governments write the tax code to incentivize investors and entrepreneurs to behave how the government wants them to. So if a government wants more affordable housing, they'll provide some great tax incentives to motivate developers to build affordable housing. The problem is that the government still have to pay their bills. So whom do they tax? They tax the middle class, and they use those taxes to subside people like me who provide what the government wants in order to get tax. Tom Wheelwright, my rich dad's advisor on taxes, and I see taxes as government incentives and economic stimulus to keep the wheels of the economy greased and moving. This is how my rich dad saw taxes. He saw he simply saw himself doing what the government wanted done, and in return the government offered him tax breaks. I want you to know that you can also use the tax code to your advantage to help you make money, or at the very least, greatly reduce your tax burden. All you have to know are rules and how to play by them. Over the years, I have lost lots of money to taxes simply because I had high-priced, well-educated CPAs who were not the brightest matches in a box. That is until I met Tom Wheelwright. For years now, Tom has been my guiding light, allowing me to do what I do best, which is build businesses, invest, create jobs, make money, and all the while paying less and less in taxes legally. And that's why I'm very happy that my friend and personal tax advisor Tom Wheelwright wrote this ebook with me. To me, there is no better person to explain how taxes work, how the tax code can help you grow richer, and who can, I'm not kidding, make taxes fun. I think you'll find, as I have, Tom's passion for taxes and helping you save money in taxes to be infectious. And I know you'll find the wealth of knowledge he brings to the table to be life changing. He brings good news. You don't have to let taxes kill you financially. The rules in the tax code, whether you know it or not, are there to help you, not harm you. If you want to earn more and pay less in taxes by doing what the government wants and needs done, this is the book for you. Robin Hood may be long gone, but his followers live on. I often hear people say, why don't the rich pay for it? Or, the rich should pay more in taxes and give it to the poor. It is this Robin Hood fantasy, or taking from the rich to give to the poor, that has caused the most pain for the poor and the middle class. The reason the middle class is so heavily taxed is because of the Robin Hood idea. The reality is that the rich are not taxed greatly. It's the middle class who pays for the poor, especially the educated upper class, middle class. Again, to fully understand how things happen, we need to look at the history of taxes. Although my high educated dad was an expert On history of education, my rich dad fashioned himself as an expert on the history of taxes. Rich Dad explained to me that originally in England and America there were no taxes. Occasionally there was temporary taxes levied in order to pay for wars. The king or the president would put the word out and ask everyone to chip in. Taxes were levied in Britain for the fight against Napoleon from 1799 to 1816, and in America to pay for the Civil War from 1861 to 1865. In 1874, England made income tax a permanent levy on its citizens. In 1930, an income tax became permanent in the United States with the adoption of the 16th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution. At one time, Americans were anti-tax. It has been the tax on tea that led to the famous Tea Party in Boston Harbor, an incident that helped ignite the Revolutionary War. It took approximately 50 years in both England and the United States to settle the idea of a regular income tax. What these historical dates fail to reveal is that both of these taxes were initially levied against only the rich. It was this point that the rich dad wanted me to understand. He explained that the idea of taxes were made popular and accepted by the majority by telling poor and the middle class that taxes were created only to punish the rich. This is how the masses voted for the law, and it became constitutionally legal. Although it was intended to punish the rich, in reality it wound up punishing the very people who voted for it, the poor and middle class. Once government got a taste of money, its appetite grew, said Rich Dad. Your dad and I exactly opposites. He's a government bureaucrat and I'm a capitalist. Our success is measured on opposite behaviors. He gets paid to spend money and hire people. The more he spends and the more people he hires, the larger his organization becomes. In the government, a large organization is a respected organization. On the other hand, within my organization, the few people I hire and the less money I spend, the more I am respected by my investors. That's why I don't like government people. They have different objectives than most business people. As the government grows, more and more tax dollars are needed to support it. My educated dad sincerely believed that government should help people. He loved John F. Kennedy and especially the idea of the Peace Corps. He loved the idea so much that both he and my mom worked for the Peace Corps training volunteer to go to Malaysia, Thailand, and the Philippines. He always strived for educational grants and budget increases so he could hire more people, both in his job with the education department and in the Peace Corps. From the time I was about 10 years old, I would hear from my rich dad that government workers were a pack of lazy thieves. And from my poor dad, I would hear how the rich were greedy crooks who should be made to pay more taxes. Both sides had valid points. It was difficult to go to work for one of the biggest capitalists in town and come home to a father who was a predominant government leader. It was not easy to know which dad to believe. Yet, when you study the history of taxes, an interesting perspective emerges. As I said, the passage of taxes was only possible because the masses believed in the Robin Hood theory of economics: take from the rich and give to everyone else. The problem was that government appetite for money was so great that taxes soon needed to be levied on the middle class, and from there it kept trickling down.